This evening is our gathering for Vesak Puja. It's the biggest day in the Buddhist year, as it's the commemoration of the Buddha's birth, his awakening, and his passing away. So these are very important occasions in the life of anybody. Birth and passing away, that's pretty important. But of course the awakening of the Buddha is what is even more, momentous. I think one of the aspects of the Buddha's life, when we consider it as a religious figure, as a religious leader, is and we reflect on most religions, and even, there's trends in Buddhism as well, where the sense of almost deifying the Buddha, and certainly in other religions, and the most important figure is some kind of deity. But the Buddha was trying to emphasize that he was born as a human being. He would pass away as other human beings do, but he was fully awakened, and that awakening is possible for us as human beings. It wasn't that he had some special concession for some reason or other, but that his aspiration to realize truth and realize awakening, realize freedom was possible, and that it was possible for anybody else, which is why he taught a path of a practice leading to awakening, so that others could follow him. So I think it's quite important to be considering that, reflecting on that, because it's so often we in the tendency of us as human beings in general, unless we're sociopaths, you think that it's hard for us to conceive of ourselves as in the same category as the Buddha or awakened beings. And but if it's important that we really reflect on that possibility and take the example of the Buddha's life in order to encourage ourselves. And certainly and the things that were a catalyst for the Buddha's own awakening, are quite ordinary things, in the sense the Buddha recognizing that seeing the heavenly messengers of the Buddha, seeing, and in the story of the Buddha seeing an aging person, a sick person, a dead person. It doesn't get any more ordinary than that, where we are all subject to birth, aging, sickness, and death. But also seeing the fourth heavenly messenger was the Buddha seeing a samana, a religious seeker, and then thinking that there must be some path, there must be some way to free the heart, to seek a spiritual answer for the problems of human existence, because to acquiesce or to sort of resign oneself to, okay, I guess I'm just born, I'm going to get old and die, and it's pretty meaningless. That's not really much of a resolution, but to recognize that there are some deeper deeper truths to this and possibilities within this human existence, and that we can seek that, we can train within that, we can realize that. It's really important to frame our life in a way that is actually uplifting and encouraging, and that to be able to cultivate that, so that the Buddha's life is such an important example for all of us, and that sense of the and not in a thinking. What comes to mind is many years ago there was a neighbor of the they lived right next door to Chithurst Monastery in England, first branch monastery in Forest Monastery in England, and he was actually a famous screenwriter, and his wife was a very well-known actress, because it's a whole other generation before, and I think he has passed away now some years ago. But he was, as a screenwriter for Hollywood, he was contracted to write a screenplay of the Buddha's life, and he would come over from time to time and pick the monks' brains of what was important, what was relevant, what could be useful. Is he getting things right? But it kept sort of. Sometimes he'd be there. Sometimes it'd get put on a back burner, and he wouldn't show up for a while. And then after a few years, and he wasn't coming over, and so one of the monks asked his wife one day, what happened to that screenplay of the upcoming movie of the Buddha's life? And she said, "Oh no, they couldn't get the funding for the movie." He said, and her comment was, "Yeah, this for Hollywood to make a movie about a good person who got better, it just wasn't a big seller." But I think still, for us, I think it is inspiring that, okay, he was a good person who had a noble aspiration, and he was able to fulfill that, and then to encourage other human beings to make that same aspiration and put forth effort to realize the same things, and this is something that has, because we reflect on the Buddha's life, but the Buddha has inspired people to practice and train to seek the experience of freedom within the heart ever since then, and through up until the modern era, where people are still being inspired and having realizations. And think of like in Thailand, the near history of say Ajahn Sao, Ajahn Mun, these great beings of the Thai forest tradition, who then spawned many, many teachers, one of them being, say, our teacher, Ajahn Chah, and then Ajahn Chah's students, disciples, who are inspiring others. I think of, like I just came back from England. I just got back 2 days ago, and I'm kind of jet-lagged and a bit feeling incoherent. But Ajahn Sumedho he's in his 90th year this year, so there was a celebration of his, honoring his life and his commitment to training. So, and then so Ajahn Sumedho has been a monk for 57 years, And there were monks senior to him who came to join, who had been around training with Ajahn Chah at the same time Ajahn Sumedho came as a newly ordained monk to train with Ajahn Chah. So Lupa Liam and then Lupa Kun, Lupa Damlong, they were all those were all senior to Ajahn Sumedho, and they came. And Ajahn Naik, who's just junior to Ajahn Sumedho, I mean, he made the effort to come. He had a stroke, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and it was very touch and go whether he would actually survive. And now he's limited in his capacity, but he definitely wanted to be in England for Ajahn Sumedho's birthday to honor him, and there were others. I'm 50 years as a monk, and I was 11th or 12th in the line. So it was quite a gathering, and and of course many more. There was about from within our own community, mostly within our own community of Ajahn Chah disciples, was about that joined for the 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's about 120 monks and about 20 nuns that were there gathered, and so that Amaravati was definitely full. It was quite a gathering, and people, the kind of talks and reflections that people gave over those days, very heartfelt, very inspiring, really. Just people recollecting of the impact that Ajahn Sumedho's life has had on them, and because this is how the Buddha's teaching has been passed from, say, over 2,600 years, from generation to generation, is through the experience and example of living human beings. It's not some kind of divine inspiration coming from a deity somewhere, or having to wait for divine intervention. It is about the human experience, and to recognize that part of the human experience can be awakening. Because oftentimes, if we think, well, there's the human experience, and then there's the other, which is spiritual, and that's a kind of a bifurcation, or a kind of a false divide that separates us from the possibility of liberation or freedom. And so it's important to recognize that within what we call human experience, there is this human experience of freedom. I mean, there certainly is suffering, and that's what the Buddha pointed to that as a key feature as a spark for realization, or built his teaching around as a central teaching, the Four Noble Truths, dukkha, of unsatisfactoriness, of suffering, but also the freedom from suffering, cessation of suffering. And also, I think, one of the, in the story of the Buddha's awakening, one of the parts of the story, or the image that is given, is the Buddha. Of course, the Buddha has he's gone to the extremes of asceticism and been dissatisfied with that as a way, or as a path that's valid or fruitful. And he begins to eat again, regain his strength, and then he's finds a suitable place for solitude and quiet. Sees this grove where there's the Bodhi tree, the tree of awakening. And then a Brahmin gives him 8 bundles of kusa grass, which is that the Buddha decides is to be able to use as a meditation seat. So the Buddha using these 8 bundles of kusa grass to use as his place where he sat under the Bodhi tree to sit meditation. And the image that's used is that the 8 bundles of kusa grass that the Buddha sat on were the 8 worldly Dhammas. That's what the Buddha sat on for his awakening, in order to rise above that. So the worldly Dhammas being that which we all will experience in the world, whether you're enlightened or not enlightened, and whether you're enlightened or not enlightened, whether you're young or old, rich or poor, male or female, whatever, praise and blame, gain and loss, status, loss of status, pleasure and pain. Those are all things one is going to experience. There's no, even the Buddha got criticized. Even the Buddha there was one rains retreat. It was sort of like gain and loss. Of course, the Buddha had tremendous support because of all the barami, the aura of goodness that surrounded him. But there was also one rains retreat where they spent the rains retreat at a place, and there was a famine, and the Buddha and the Sangha had to rely basically on horse feed, and wasn't an easy rains retreat. So that gain and loss, status, lack of status, or reduction of status, pleasure and pain. It's just we experience that which is pleasant, we experience that which is painful, and that just in the human condition, that's what we experience, and it is ordinary. But to be able to sit on that, to rise above that, and to not be overwhelmed, not to be, identifying with that, is an aspect of liberation, of freedom. And so this is the experience of the human condition, but the rising above the human condition is what the Buddha and all the awakened disciples since then have done. So it's just this reflection on the path. Also, I think of of course, when we reflect on the Buddha's life, is one of the traditional aspects of is reflecting on the qualities of the Buddha, and particularly in Theravada tradition, and the 3 main themes that come up all the time to reflect are wisdom, compassion, purity, and that aspect of the wisdom, discernment, clarity of understanding that the Buddha demonstrated and lived and embodied. Aspects of compassion, this tremendous empathy for those of us bound by the human condition, and the purity of heart that able to just completely relinquish the identification that one has with this human condition, with this personality, and just sort of realize, no, those are all limitations need to be let go of. But I think, one of the, in terms of or one of the things that comes to my mind anyway, as a manifestation of all these qualities, is the traditional way that the Buddha drew people into his vision of the possibility of this human condition, and that's what in his teaching is called the Anupupikata, the gradual instruction. And it's something that the Buddha taught once after his awakening began teaching. He would instruct people in in generosity. This is that there is, and I think throughout that, there's this laying the foundation for right understanding, for a correct perception of the truth of this human condition, and that there is fundamentally that there is actions that we take, and there are the fruits of action. There's kamma, there's the results of kamma that we can be taking responsibility for. It's not, we don't live in a random universe, and we can make wise choices that bring benefit for ourselves and benefit for others. So that the fruits of generosity, just being generous, giving, sharing, within this human condition creates a sense of well-being and happiness for ourselves and for others. The same with virtue, living with in a virtuous way, skillfully employing our actions of body and speech so that it's not harming, not creating dukkha for others, not creating dukkha for ourselves, living in a way that engenders trust and integrity. It just creates tremendous well-being. And you think of, one of the, as a human being or as a being born, whether it's in animal realm or human realm or any other realm. I mean, there's this. You think, one of the things that's so universal is just fear. It's the kinds of fear, suspicion, kind of the feeling of uncertainty and doubt, and that creating a sense of trust and confidence in the world around us. This is the fruit of living with the precepts, living with virtue, living with integrity, and it's an incredible gift to the world around us and to ourselves, of course, because then we tend to look on other beings as not suspicious, not fearful, not worrisome. And so that the benefits of living with virtue. Also, and the Buddha giving this gradual instruction, just sort of the Buddha sort of laying these foundations of how you build a basis of freedom and liberation, generosity, virtue, and understanding that the next is what's in Sangha, which is heaven. Yeah, there are heavenly states in the present moment within the heart. There are heavenly states that if we live in a skillful way, we create heavenly realms for ourselves, and whether we believe it in the present as well as in future lives, these are states of being that we can experience, and rather than creating states of anxiety and fear and conflict. I mean, those are pretty miserable states to live in. And again, whether it's in this present existence or whether it's in future existences, we want to be paying attention to how do we create a state of heavenly experience. Then the Buddha, again, in terms of a gradual instruction, gradual training, is the Buddha, okay, seeing the limitations, seeing the drawbacks of sensuality. The Buddha calls adinava, and that recognizing that there's only, there's drawbacks, there's limitations. There's never really a place of full gratification, satisfaction, contentment within the sensory and sensual realm. It can be exciting, can be fun, but not very peaceful, not very satisfying in terms of fulfilling the heart or realizing, oh, this is my potential in the human existence. This is my potential as an intelligent being. Just gaining gratification on the sensual realm. It's pleasant, but there's more. And so being able to reflect on not being too distracted. It doesn't mean that one can't experience happiness or pleasure. It's very ordinary, but it's the limitation and obsession that can be the distraction. So to be clear, there is a limited capacity for the pleasant to be completely gratifying. So that then the Buddha, the next step the Buddha points to is nekamma, renunciation, relinquishment, being willing to release the grip on one's search for gratification, whether it's gratification on a sensual realm or gratification in terms of the propping up a sense of identity, a sense of me and mine and my kind of feeling of, say, status, or my feeling of security, being able to reflect on the human condition in a very complete and thorough way, and then to be able to relinquish, to let go, and that's where a sense of security starts to set in. Is when there's an ability to not hold on. There's a teaching that the Buddha gives when he's asked on a summary of the Dhamma, or a distillation of his teaching, and he's like, how can this be distilled into the essence of your teaching? And the Buddha condenses it into a short sort of saying, sabbe dhamma nalanga binivesaya. All things are not to be clung to, or nothing whatsoever is to be clung to or held to. And so that sense of renunciation. And then in this gradual instruction, it's the Buddha, it says, when he recognizes that somebody their hearts are clear, are present, are malleable, are ready to hear truth, that is when he would expound on the Four Noble Truths. Dukkha, origin of dukkha, cessation of dukkha, path leading to cessation of dukkha. And that, so that these seeing clearly from a place of experience as opposed to a place of personality, of my likes, my dislikes, my preferences, my wants, my I don't like, I don't want, shouldn't be this way. It's more like, what is the experience in terms of its felt sense, and seeing distress of And I think it's in some words the word stress is as a translation of dukkha is really perfect. In some it's not so great. As dukkha has so many nuances, but there is this even something that's really really beautiful and refined and can still be stressful because it's you don't want that beauty to be disturbed. Or even the beauty of when the mind becomes really settled and still, and of course that's the cultivation of meditation, and meditative states of stillness are essential, but one can't hold on to it. So and the more one tries to hold on to it, the more stressful it is. So it's sort of seeing clearly. This is, and that's that's one of the insight, the way that the Buddha describes the insight, I say liberating insight, is that knowledge and vision of the way things truly are. And the way things truly are is, whatever is of the nature to arise, that is of the nature to cease. And it's a fairly simple and straightforward description of everything, but it's allowing the heart to acknowledge it, recognize it, and live with that truth, and allowing that willingness to let go and release the attachments and clinging that we do have. So that following the instruction of the Buddha, following that gradual description of this fundamental insight into truth is the Buddha's gift to us, and probably the most compassionate expression of his insight is making it accessible to us as other human beings. So that to be, especially on, Vesak Puja Day, which is the commemoration of the Buddha's birth, his awakening, his passing away, that it's not just about the Buddha out there, but how do we nurture and care for the Buddha in here, because that's where what we have, the legacy that we have, the gift that we have, as the Buddha pointed, this is possible for all of us. So I'll offer that for reflection this evening.